So, if Trayvon Martin was a slave, definitely George Zimmerman would be in prison right now or executed for what he did because he destroyed property. The slave owners were business owners. You think that slave owners would tolerate their business or their property constantly being destroyed? You understand all the lynchings that happened after slavery, all the attacks on black people after slavery, that's because the property status was gone. So it was much, much, much easier to attack a black person and get away with it. Destroy their property, destroy their livelihood, put them in prisons for whatever reason. It was so easy. But under slavery, no, because the slave owner would come to the defense of the slave. People think that, they always think worst case scenario. There were problems under slavery. I'm not saying that there weren't, because there were some slave owners that, abused their property. But I keep on asking people, and they don't like to answer the question. If you were a slave owner, or if you were a business owner, I would say, if you were a business owner, would you purposely damage and destroy your property? Well, of course you wouldn't. Some idiots would. You understand? Because they get upset or something like that, they get angry and they'll do something that they shouldn't do. But most people wouldn't do that. It just doesn't make any sense. But this is what slave owners were constantly doing, and then that black people tolerated them, them being beaten for whatever reason. They're being raped. They're not being paid. Their families are constantly being taken away from them, and somehow the South wasn't a powder keg. Somehow the South wasn't in flames. It doesn't make any sense. The reason why it wasn't is because most black people weren't treated that way. That's why it was called a peculiar institution, because black people were treated a lot better in the South than they were the North. So the Southerners are telling the truth. The Southerners even said that, yes, there are problems under slavery. Yes, we're dealing with that. But overall, we don't treat our slaves that way because it doesn't make any sense. It's counterproductive to a business. If you want a good business, you don't treat your employees or your workers like that. And slave is another word for worker or laborer, by the way. If you're slaving away, you're working away. Whatever Northerners were doing in the North, slaves were doing in the South. I don't understand how people think that. They always think the little of black people. Like we're so stupid and docile that we didn't know how to defend ourselves. It just gets on my nerves. But I have to repeat this over and over and over again until people understand this. When we got out of slavery, that's when we started getting attacked. So this whole thing about, reparation for slavery, like, are you kidding me? There's so many problems that we had under the free system that we could point to. And it's funny that when they talk about reparations for slavery, they include the free system. Well, wait a minute. I thought you were just talking about slavery. Why are you including the free system as well? Because they know that there's so many problems under the free system, but they would just want to go to slavery because they're indoctrinated into thinking that was the worst thing for us. But no, it wasn't. It actually protected us. Even Northerners said that, the slaves are lazy and they like to be taken care of. Like what? Which totally contradicts what the abolitionists say about slavery. So you have to understand that they're manipulating the information about slavery, and you have to get a clue.